Hi, I'm Micah Siegel, and this is the first episode of Rogue Scholar Academy. Here we will learn about the most important things regular school doesn't teach you, starting with real estate. Luckily for me, my aunt, Carla Bartel, has been in the industry for over 20 years and is going to be the guide for this project. I spent 2 weeks in Denver following and learning from Carla, and this is my progress report about the project so far. A few things we learned on the trip are: what are agents, what are brokers, what is the MLS, staging, deadlines, commissions, inspections, credit, licensing, and appraisals and pricing homes. I'm going back to Denver in July to record all the things I missed. Here's a list of those too. Make an outro or summary, make a video of Carla selling a house, since I was there on spring break, which also happened to be when all her clients were on vacation, so that was pretty bad. Anyway, we still have to learn about warranties, mortgages, fair housing laws, go to a closing, and learn how our price is negotiated on. That video will be out on this channel about a month or so after July, but in the meantime, I'm going to explain something I learned in Denver. Cue Micah on the computer. Realtors have a system which is about providing and using information about homes, like how many square feet it has, how many floors it has, how tall the ceilings are, etc. This is called the MLS, short for Multi-Listing Service, and you need a license like Carla has to access it. This is it right here. So you can type in all sorts of different criterias to find the right house. Number of bedrooms, bathrooms, square feet, price, garage, all sorts of things. On the bottom left it says 72 matches, 72 homes that match this criteria. Let's see. Okay. Here's one of them. Looks very nice. Normal house. Pretty fancy. That's just because I put in fancy criteria, but anyways, you can find out all sorts of information. Price, where it is, days on the market, property type, county, listing ID, year built, all sorts of specifics. There are versions for buyers and renters which are open to the public. Let's go look at one. Here, Redfin and Zillow are some of the top platforms where buyers and renters go to find a home that meets their criteria. For example, being in a certain location or having a garage or a specific number of bathrooms. Zillow and Redfin pay the MLS for their information, but they're still not quite as good as the MLS. The MLS is more historically accurate, has real-time updates on listing statuses and market activity, and better communication mechanics like scheduling showings. This is Zillow, and here we are in Salt Lake City. This is the first house that comes up. Stuff I can't pronounce. 4 beds, 4 baths, 4,660 square feet. But you can already notice it has less information than the MLS does. It's enough information for buyers to figure out if they're interested and want to learn more about the house, but not enough to actually sign a contract. That's what the MLS is for. Okay, now that we learned about the MLS, let's learn how important relationships and trust are as a realtor from Carla.
A real estate agent helps people buy and sell homes, condos, property, whatever it happens to be that they need or they're looking for. But it doesn't just encompass the idea that you write a contract, put it into motion, and then you close. It starts with a relationship. You have to build a relationship because the whole transaction, it's really based on trust. And if the person doesn't trust me, who I'm working with, then why would he trust me to help him with one of the biggest decisions that they make in their entire life?
Exactly.
Selling real estate, it's complicated. There's a lot of legal ramifications, and it's not like selling shoes. I mean, you're not spending $100. you're spending often millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's people's, it's their savings. So the consequences are much bigger in real estate, so you have to be careful. So to be a real estate agent, you have to get licensed. In order to get licensed, you have to study hard for a test. And it's not that hard to pass the test if you study and you learn it. But passing the test is just the first early step. There's so much more than just what you learn in real estate school. But you have to know that stuff. To be a real estate broker, it's a little bit different. The test is much harder. I think the first time pass rate right now is 40%. It's just a much harder test. You have to understand things at a higher level. And the reason for that is, as a real estate broker, you can help people buy and sell property, same as a real estate agent. But you also have the ability to manage other brokers if you want to open your own real estate office. We call it a brokerage. So the real estate broker, you have to have what's called a managing broker. And then real estate agents who just have their agent's license can come and work for that broker in their office. And we call it, the agents hang their license with that broker. You have to have your license with a brokerage in order to sell real estate properly and legally. So to get that real estate broker's license is, it's harder in some states, like in Colorado where I live. There's no agency license anymore. Everyone is a broker. So I'm a broker. I had to pass that test, and yeah, it was hard. We had to study a lot. But I don't own my own brokerage. I work for a national company that has a managing broker or a few managing brokers, and then agents come and they work for them. Now in Colorado, all those agents do have their broker's license, but I don't want the hassle. I don't want to own a brokerage. I don't want to have to pay rent at an office and pay all the insurance and do everything I would need to do to have a whole brokerage company. I work for myself, but I have to hang my license somewhere. So I hang it at the brokerage I've chosen. I work for Corcoran, which is a national group. So deadlines are really, really important in real estate. Our contracts have lots and lots of dates and deadlines, and you have to get certain milestones within the contract period taken care of by those deadlines. If you can't, and you know you can't, you can amend the contract. You can change it and do an amendment to the contract that says, okay, we need to extend this deadline. So for instance, today I have this listing. A listing means a house that's for sale, but I represent the seller. I have a listing and I have 3 offers on it. It's a very competitive listing. And in the contracts that these buyer's agents have written, buyer's agents is someone that represents the buyer. I'm in this case representing the listing, which is the house, the seller. The buyer's agent puts in these deadlines and they're saying, okay, we want a response. Sometimes they give me 24 hours. They'll say tomorrow at noon. Or if it's competitive like this, sometimes it'll say, we want a response tonight at 6 p.m. And they make the seller hurry with their decision because they're anxious and they want to get an answer and know if they're going to get the offer accepted or not. So the dates and deadlines section of the contract is really, really important, and it's my responsibility as their realtor to make sure none of those deadlines are missed. If you miss a deadline, it can be tragic in the life of a contract. It could terminate the contract right then and there. In the middle of the whole thing, if you miss a deadline. I'm very careful not to miss deadlines. I have never missed a deadline. If I know that my client can't do something by a certain deadline, or someone we're working with, say an inspector or a lender, if they can't do something by a certain deadline that is set forth in the contract, it's up to me to change that deadline, which I can do with an amendment. Okay, I can say, we're not going to make this deadline. I need to extend this deadline 2 days or something like that. And you can keep the contract alive. Once these deadlines go past, if they're not within the confines of the contract, your contract's dead and the whole deal's dead.
Finally, let's ask some experts about the unusual system the Colorado government has designed for their realtors.
So this is John Keene. He's the manager I work with the most, and I rely on him whenever I have questions on a deal or contracts or anything. I call this gentleman right here. He really understands the business and is super helpful. Can you explain the difference between an agent and a broker and how in Denver it's maybe a little different?
So Colorado, we're unique in that everybody who has a license is considered a broker. A lot of times when you hear in the news, you talk about brokerages, it's like the company, Broker Peering Company. That's a brokerage. And John Lawrence, he's our owner, so he's the employing broker, and he employs all of the brokers that work in this office. And there's a level between that, which is a managing broker. So I had to go through extra training so that I could supervise the regular brokers. And we all start out, when we first get our license, we're associate brokers. And we have to have that. It's a higher level of supervision for 2 years before you're allowed to actually go out and do things kind of on your own. So when you hear about all these things in the news about commissions and agencies and things like that, a lot of the stuff that's been causing these lawsuits don't really apply in Colorado because we've been doing it differently, where we all are brokers, individual brokers, just at different levels of training and supervision. So I think we'll be fine here in Colorado.
So I'm a real estate broker in Colorado. In order to be called a realtor, I have to be a member of DMAR, D-M-A-R, Denver Metro Association of Realtors. And there's a certain group of qualifications that I have to meet in order to be a realtor. There's certain classes I have to take. I have to take an ethics class and follow the Colorado Real Estate Code of Ethics and many other things. So if you're not a realtor, that doesn't mean you can't help people buy and sell homes and be a real estate broker here. But there's a certain level of expertise that you are if you are a realtor, and buyers and sellers might prefer to have a realtor because they know that I have to uphold to those standards of excellence really within our industry.
Thanks for watching this video. You can learn more about me and Rogue Scholar Academy on my website and on my podcast here on YouTube. The links to both of those are in the description. Hi, I'm Micah Siegel, and this is the state of the staging, deadlines, commissions, inspection fees. Crap. There's no inspection fee. There's inspections and then there's fees.